Bill O'Reilly here, Friday, April 23rd, 2021. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening this week in America. First to Minnesota, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, guilty on all three counts, as you may know, in the May 2020 death of George Floyd. The jury consisted of 7 women, 5 men, 6 were white, 4 black, 2 identified as multiracial. Mr. Chauvin now lives in isolation at a Minnesota prison. He will be sentenced in 8 weeks. He faces a maximum penalty of 75 years on the 3 convictions. I assume he will be sentenced to between 15 and 20. Said President Biden following the verdict, quote, "It was murder in full light of day, and it ripped the blinders off for the whole world to see the systemic racism that is a stain on our nation's soul." That was a foolish and alienating statement by the president. Now to the southern border, which Mr. Biden has pretty much collapsed. The number of unaccompanied minors illegally entering the USA up 800% in the last 2 months. 275 children a day are encountered by federal border agents. Department of Homeland Security warns that figure could swell to 26,000 kids a month by the end of summer. Nearly all the migrants crossing the border are processed and released into the United States within 6 hours with no supervision, and most do not even have a court date to appear. This is an open border policy, and President Biden is responsible. Meantime, the White House now instructing ICE and border agents to stop using the words illegal alien. Instead, they should say non-citizen or migrant. Mr. Biden telling reporters the new guidelines will safeguard the dignity and well-being of all families and communities. Well, what about those kids who are getting hurt down there? Finally, the Academy Awards Sunday night, the 93rd Oscar telecast, will last about 3.5 hours with no host. Nobody wants to do it because the show is a disaster. Nobody's going to watch it either. 30 years ago, about 47 million people watched the Oscar telecast hosted by Billy Crystal. Now, nobody cares because the movies nominated, nobody's ever seen, and the far left has destroyed the entire film industry. That is a fact. Coming up, the message of the day. Listeners, sound off. Right back with it. Hey, good movie alert. It's called Roe v. Wade. Not a documentary. It's a real Hollywood movie with great actors like Jon Voight, Stacey Dash, John Snyder, Steve Guttenberg, and even LA Law's Corbin Burnson. Not some boring film about a court case. You will be blown away to learn about how Planned Parenthood manipulated the courts and lied to the media back in the 1970s, all for power, and how the conspiracy even involved some Supreme Court justices. Literally the most famous court case in American history that everyone has heard of, but no one knows very much about. Finally, the truth comes out. Hollywood and the media have tried to stop the film from coming out. It could get canceled or banned. So see it immediately before they remove it from iTunes, Amazon, Google Play. You can download it from your major cable or satellite carrier. It is on demand. Check out Roe v. Wade, the movie, today. Time now for the O'Reilly Update, message of the day. Listeners, sounding off. We do this each Friday, and you can get involved. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. Paul in Sarasota, Florida writes, an opinion from a self-proclaimed individual to a self-proclaimed individual on racism. No matter what ethnicity a person is, if skin color matters to that person, that is racism. A person's soul has no color. Excellent letter, Paul. And I tell this to everybody. Do not call other people racist unless there is evidence beyond any reasonable doubt. That judgment is pernicious, word of the day, pernicious, harmful. And it's insulting. as far as you are concerned, if you make decisions about other people based on their skin color, no matter what the decision is, that is a racist act. Donna in Kewanee, Wisconsin. Maxine Waters should be sanctioned. The founders set up checks and balances by the three separate branches of government to invade the province of the jury in the Floyd trial by an equal branch tells us she considers the judicial branch to be a lesser, not equal, in stature. So Waters, the congresswoman from California, was threatened to be sanctioned in the House, but a party vote said we're not going to do that. She is obviously an irresponsible person, Maxine Waters. But you make a very good point, Donna. Legislators, those in Congress who make laws, should not be inserting themselves into the judicial system. And that goes for the executive branch, President Obama and Vice President Harris. Betty is in Mesa, Arizona. Too bad when black police officers are killed, they do not get the publicity that George Floyd did. Seems like only Black Lives Matter if you are a criminal who has interaction with police by resisting arrest. I don't think that's fair, Betty. I don't think that's fair. Police officers are held to a higher standard because they have power and they have the ability to kill you. So their standards are much, much higher than a civilian. Now, I do believe justice was done in the George Floyd case, as I said. The evidence of depraved indifference from the Minneapolis police officer who was convicted was overwhelming. Mike is in Spencerport, New York. How sure are you, O'Reilly, that neither the court packing bill or the D.C. statehood bill will pass? About 80%. I don't believe any Republicans will support either of those. And if one court packing or D.C. statehood did pass, the Supreme Court would likely find it unconstitutional, particularly the D.C. statehood bill. It is clear the founders wanted Washington to be a federal jurisdiction. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by putting it together. For more honest news analysis, please visit BillO'Reilly.com. In a moment, something you might not know. Are you looking for your next investment? Bill O'Reilly here. There are 7 reasons to look at the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund. Monthly cash flow payouts of 10% annualized. Bonuses to 21% targeted. They strategically locate in lower risk, high demand areas people want to move to. New construction is short on supply. Real estate affords diversification and safety from stock market risk. Their short and long-term strategy provides for steady returns right now. NRIA is an industry leader with a 15-year proven track record. So, if you've been sitting on the sidelines or want to diversify, start your due diligence at nria.net. Or you can call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 2020, a very bad year for the entertainment industry. Music sales, Broadway shows, TV ratings all way down since COVID began. But the hardest hit was Hollywood. Despite one of the worst years ever, the Academy Awards will proceed as planned this Sunday. Since very few people saw any of the nominated films, here is a rundown. First, The Father, starring Anthony Hopkins, a brilliant actor. An aging man battling dementia moves into his daughter's tiny apartment. The film made less than $400,000 at the box office. Next, Minari, tale about a Korean family that starts a farm in rural Arkansas, then nearly starves to death when their barn burns down. Wow. Moving on to Nomadland, story of a widow who sells her belongings and drives around the USA looking for work. including a gig at an Amazon shipping center. Also on the Best Picture list, A Promising Young Woman. That's a comedy about a college dropout who seeks revenge on men. That sounds pretty funny. Another Best Picture nominee, The Sound of Metal, a 2-hour movie about a heavy metal musician slowly going deaf. Hello? Hello? Finally, The Trial of the Chicago 7. The film follows a group charged with inciting riots at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. Steven Spielberg was set to direct, but he bailed out, which might have been a wise move. Now, a quick comparison. Let's look back at the Oscar nominees 30 years ago, 1991. The show was hosted by comedian Billy Crystal. 42 million people watched. I think less than 10 million will watch this year. Nominated films in 91, Godfather Part 3, Goodfellas, Ghost, Pretty Woman, Dances with Wolves, Stephen King's Misery, and The Hunt for Red October, all classics. Actors nominated, Kevin Costner, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, Jeremy Irons, James Caan, Kathy Bates, all stars. Hollywood used to be fun. Now it's basically a bunch of ill-informed posers virtue signaling. Cancel culture and liberal politics have killed the movies. Or am I wrong? Back after this. This year marks 20 years since America's darkest day, September 11, 2001, and the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting America's frontline heroes ever since. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays off the mortgage to lift the financial burden for the family and bring their families some stability. For catastrophically injured vets and first responders, Tunnel to Towers builds mortgage-free smart homes, enabling our most severely injured heroes to live more independent lives. Our nation's heroes, people who are willing to die for us, need your help. So please don't wait. Join Tunnel to Towers on their mission to do good and help those heroes. Please donate $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.